welcome everybody as we come to hang out in at the time is 12:43, which is the hanging man hanging out, and the 43 of coming together in love and joy. And it just turned to the 44, which is the grounding and integrating and mastering of love, especially receiving it. So let's go ahead first and just take a quick deep breath. I have a lot to cover today. Sending lots of love and blessings out to you guys. It's kind of hazy out today. There's not much sun going on, but it's very calm. Take your other couple deep breaths if you feel called to do so. We definitely can always use them. I'm going to show you the pictures I have. I have a lot to cover today. I have a big message of the day that I just did. Some very interesting energies have come up. I also did have a union read and a twin flame for you guys, but I also did two quick twin flame reads for myself the other day, which I want to share with you as well, because the messages are always coming out for everyone, not just for me. And yeah, there's some connections with some messages that were out there too that I was getting. So yeah, a lot to cover. So here is the message of the day. There's two different pictures. All right, so that's the first part of it. It actually goes from the underlying energy to the 6 piles, which came out in 2 plus 4, which is the 24, 6 underlying energies. And then this pile came out, this pile, and then the 4th pile, which is 3333 of the DNA. All right, and also the 3D, 4D, 5D, and 6D of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I discussed that in my video the other day about the DNA from Cryon. So here is my first read for the union. This is my second read for the union. These are all the Sirian Starseed deck. And for your union, I'll show you the setup if you're not familiar. So this is the general union read, and this is the 4D, 5D, 6D, the Divine Feminine on the left, Masculine on the right, the bridge between them in the center, the incoming Divine Feminine, the outgoing Divine Masculine, the underlying energies and the closing energies for each read. And then the read in front of you, which is the general twin flame read for general energies overall. And again, the Sirian Starseed deck. This is the full read with 7 decks. So it is a lot of energy. It's a general read. Don't force it to fit. If it doesn't resonate with you, then it's not for you today. And that's okay. All right, so that's all of the reads. The 7-deck read includes, for those of you not familiar, I try not to say it every time because I know you guys get sick of hearing it, but for those of you not familiar, it's the Romance Angels, the Tarot of Sexual Magic, the Numerology deck is over there. We have the Gilded Tarot over there, as well as the Universal Golden Tarot up top, and you see the underlying energies here, and the Mini Rider-Waite. And of course, the Sirian Starseed deck is the main deck. So let's get going. We're going to roll the dice, see what's coming up for the Twin Flames today. Yay, Twin Flames. All right, number 7's coming up here. It was kind of leaning towards 8 as well, but we have the 7 mainly. 7 is the Chariot, which is Cancer energy. 7 is also the month of July, which goes from Cancer to Leo. So Cancer is very significant there. And then we have Pisces here, and Neptune here, which is also Pisces. So very significant Pisces and Cancer. So very watery today, which is very focused on one energy. It's not been like that at all the past few weeks. This is very focused on water energies, Pisces and Cancer, and perhaps some Leo going into Leo as well. So, and again, Neptune is all about the illusion, the dreaminess. Are we going direct again? I know there's some shifting in the outer planets going on right now, but I don't know the exact dates, so you can look them up if you want. But that has to do with the illusion and any shifts that we're dealing with as far as retrogrades. And Pisces is confirming that Neptune because they have that same energy. And then the 7 of the Chariot. And the Chariot itself has come up a lot in my messages today about the Chariot is the vehicle of ascension. It is the feminine within the masculine ascending. And then the Pisces is that, at the end of the cycle, right? It's the 1 foot in this world, 1 foot in the next. So it's very much about ascension here and the illusion that is the dream, which is heaven on earth. It's not an illusion, right? Remember, your intention is everything, and Spirit's connecting with me very strongly. So this message of the day, which I did this morning, I started out with the underlying. I'm not going to tell you all the cards. You have the pictures because there's a lot of information to cover. But like I showed you, the format came out in 2 plus 4 as the first 6 cards, which is the 24-6 of the Queen of Wands. But it's also that third grouping in the DNA of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which is also representative of the 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D. And that 24 comes up from the third group, 7, 8, 9, which Cryon references as the Lemurian healer group, okay, which is basically what we're in, because the fourth group is the source energy group. So the underlying energy here starts out with the underlying energy of the octopus, the loving man, the 9 of swords reversed, and the message of concern. So this is at 10:36 to 37, which is the Atlas energy of the weight of the world, going into unconditional love. Again, the end of the cycle into the new, and a turn for the better with the 10 of the high vibration and the wheel of fortune or destiny. We have boundaries here, the rainbow thinking cap, perhaps the crown opening up, more than one head. The octopus has more than one functioning brain in their tentacles. So there's more than one head or more than one brain here, tentacles with a mind of their own in the dark, with the loving man suffering in silence, or perhaps can't sleep, or is just stressed out, with a message of concern of the twin flames and the higher love, and or a choice of path regarding patience, whether that has to be being patient, like being patient with yourself and calm, or patience if you're dealing with patience. The dolphin comes up here. The cute little otter, and then the octopus, they're underneath the octopus. Energies about friends needing boundaries with the loving man. The stork's nesting with the golden egg, but impatient with puppy who's curious to separate the good from the bad and wanting to learn, with the loving man and wanting the loving man to lead the way. The pup not wanting to lead the way, wanting someone to help them, right? And this can be friends with the loving man or their children with the loving man here, asking for their help to lead the way. The messenger of truth standing up about that ship that had sailed, the dream come true with a new passion to purge and end a nightmare. The pathway with the false person or masks and unexpected income due to bad health and or a message of concern with someone perhaps on hospice or just not well, or perhaps they're just sick to their stomach, or perhaps being poisoned by the false person with the mask. And remember, poison doesn't have to be literal. It can be someone poisoning their mind with ideas or belief systems, any of that kind of energy. So there's the energy first of the mousy, angry man trying to clear the dark, that man from Mars with anger coming up, cleaning up the act or cleaning up in general, to clean up. It's coming clean or getting clean, cleaning up the actor's space here. So literally he's cleaning up to become the main male from that angry man from Mars, the twin flame in magician embodiment. So it's literally this beautiful energy of someone trying to clean up their act to become the better man. The crocodile eye with the reptilian energy there, the rep laying in wait for adventure of a lifetime as the Empress, and both headed to the courthouse. So this could be headed to the courthouse for some kind of legal battle or a breakup or to come together, but it felt more like the ending of something. The sacral energy where the seal now has been broken. And remember, my video was titled "The Seal Has Been Broken." I believe I presented that on the 3rd, and then all the shutdowns on the 4th came through. So there's definitely energy. If you look back at the 7 seals and then the 7 trumpets, there's a lot of energies that all came out at once on the 4th when the internet shut down. So the sacral chakra, which is the chakra of creativity, of sexuality, of growth, right? That's of creating a child, right? It's creation. The sacral chakra with the seal broken. And we get this card here of the sacral chakra is the Kundalini snake around the world, but it's been broken, like the tail is not in the snake's mouth. It's again confirming the seal broken. And crossing twin bridges to come together at work with the wealthy man, perhaps to seal the deal. We have the Queen of Cups in transition here. And then we have the Phoenix rising from the ashes with the child with negative self-talk, perhaps about marriage, or perhaps two children where one is sweet and one is very mouthy, or the need to rise above the kids for a marriage to happen, or in a marriage to let go, and the transition of the Empress. So we have two feminines in transition, right? Someone may be transitioning out of a connection and the other one transitioning in. The Queen of Cups and the Empress both transitioning. And then here we have this masculine transitioning to be the better man. The stingray plugged in and turned on. That's the activation of the chakra system, opening a new door. The Knight of Wands settling out in court or out of court, with the Fool's journey to union. The spider's web, just like the lion's den, once you're in there, it's hard to get out, right? Especially with the spider's web, it's very sticky. The Power Lady with the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, community, or her own legacy, for the poor boy who is on the way, just waiting for them to stick finally, or presenting or being present in the moment, or presenting a gift, or being present with your gifts or their gifts of unconditional love here. Again, being present in the moment, the gifts, and the unconditional love here of the King of Cups. And then at 11:11, the Lamb comes up again, which is the first card that came out when I did the seal is broken on the 3rd, when I presented that. The Lamb came up with the black egg and the bee. And then we had the 3 piles, the 4 piles of 3. This was the first one. This is like the first pile of DNA would be the human biology, the physicalness of being in this incarnation. And it's the Lamb. And I was talked to you about the wounded warrior, how in my harmonic egg meditation that was very profound, that we start out as the human warrior from our animal and plant and stone lives, that we went through so much pain already. We come in as the skinned, wounded warrior in child's pose, as the human being. The silencing of the lamb, and that was one of the pictures I saw in my meditation in the harmonic egg, was a lamb leaving another lamb, and I saw myself as the lamb leaving for the slaughterhouse and leaving my love behind. And it's making me want to cry. And that was like one of the final things before we went to the stone, because after they showed me the lambs being parted from each other, really showing me the understanding of being skinned and sent to the slaughterhouse, then all of a sudden they showed me the human being in child's pose, the masculine skinned in child's pose. It was very profound. So here we have that lamb and the silencing of the lamb, the black egg of the throat chakra and the truth that needs to be told. And here's the lamb and the black egg of the truth with the bee, the busy bee or the busybody coming up here. And the different layers of dimensions as well as DNA stranding of the 12 strands. We have the 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then the DNA strands in those same groupings. The silencing of the lamb, and then as I wrote 1112 of the 10, 11, 12 group, the time became 1112. In the silencing of the lamb, targeted to speak their truth to honey bee, very tired of holding themselves up with those little wings, up in 3D form, or the heavyweight, that very dense energy holding them down, like the bee with their tiny little wings, wanting to be the butterfly with the big wings. In the community of birds with luck on their side, or 4 wishes, not just 3, in cutting cords or anchors. 2 specific birds flying high here. And I was getting the flea or flee, fly, flow. That, I don't know why that's coming up again, so I'm going to tell you that. I don't know where it came from, but I learned this at camp when I was very young. And it was flee, fly, flow, vista. Pamalama, kumala, vista. Oh, no, not the vista, vista, vista. So you're repeating each other. Eeny, meeny, dissalini, ooh, malini, acha, kukuracha, ooh, give me an ish, bibliotin, dotin, bobo, but didn't that, and why not, and shh. All right, so for some reason that need to come up, but 2 specific birds flying free, juggling the rainbow with the eye on the prize, socializing and coming together in joyful reunions, but not telling true feelings of being down on your knees, praying that the dark birds go away, the busy bee. The journey to sudden wealth, or the love train, because wealth doesn't have to mean money. The love train with main female and older man with concerns. Hanging out with the high priestess or secret and the wounded warrior here. Destined to justice, truth and balance, the divine feminine mother of that mother divine energy, the high priestess, and then the 33, which is the Christ vibration of unity consciousness. But this older man may be concerned, because it has to do with Christ, that this means they must martyr themselves, or the martyrdom of the old ways, which is not the truth. Then we had the group of the moth, the panther, and the dragon, like a moth to the flame, pinpointing the right timing and magnifying. And then they took me off path right here. They had me go back to one of my old journal entries from today, back in 2017, to see what came up. And one of the things that came up was I have a crystal apple that I looked into to see if there were any messages, like a crystal ball. And so they were guiding me to look into that crystal apple again, and here are the messages that came up from the crystal ball. And this was at 11:22. So the first thing I saw was the Liberty Bell, and then Benjamin Franklin's kite, and then the cyclone of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. And then at 11:23, which is Justice and the King of Wands starting out their journey, just like Dorothy, where one crow was outside yelling at me, which was representing the Wicked Witch of the West. And then I was getting again Flying the Crow's Distance, which I've posted recently again. You can look that up if you want to know Flying the Crow's Distance. It's a mathematical equation. Well, you can look at it. I forget exactly the definition. But so we have the sun here, Stonehenge, the Twin Towers, and other planets also coming up with the central sun coming at us. The vehicles of ascension, the crack of the bell, the lightning of Ben Franklin, and the destruction of the cyclone, the vehicles of ascension, that which we survive or last the distance. And then going the distance was coming up, going the speed. She's all alone in her time of need, which was Dorothy on her path, right? That high, and the speed was coming up as that high vibration. The race to get there, which is like the crow's distance, the race to get there before her or beat them, right, to the finish line, causing delay after delay, looking for friends who have been there all along, the scarecrow, the tin man, and the cowardly lion, to guide you on your way back home, going the long way around, and she'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. No spine, no heart, no courage, in need of Kundalini activation, the key to the heart, and the courage to leap through the ring of fire, the circle of trust, to expand your world, to go outside your backyard, that they're all a part of you, not just what's within the gates of your home. So then we go back to the moth, the panther, and the dragon, and timing and magnifying the right time and pinpointing like a moth to the flame. So timing and magnifying the cycles of the moon for gifts and masks, and not knowing what to expect behind doors number 1 and 2, or perhaps that's doors number 1 and 3, perhaps you know what's behind number 2. The gift of motivation and the mask of confidence, ego personality, which is that's the solar plexus energy, the role that you decide to play, to bring good news, to get attention and lead the way, to assist the broken King of Pentacles reversed, or to put Humpty Dumpty's pieces back together again. The mature man receives gifts of imprisonment, or his gifts are making him feel imprisoned because it makes him feel like he might owe something to someone. And of course, all of us don't want to feel like we owe something, which is one of the wounds regarding someone who gives all the time, because they never want to feel like they owe something back to someone, because that's when they've experienced in the past getting into trouble. And that was at 11:44, which is justice in the 44 again of that 4 of Cups, grounding and integrating and mastering of love. Not boredom, but time to ground and integrate what you've learned. The moth to the flame at the mid-moon or the new moon, which is today, bringing gifts of the journey to maturity. The Black Panther with gifts of being broken or stuck, or being broke, perhaps broken up or broke down, in order to receive gracefully. The Dragon's Eye, the innocent loving child, hiding behind the King of Pentacles reversed, who's imprisoning themselves, locking up their heart and throwing away the key. Gone inside forever, never seeing no one nice again like you. Okay, so that's a quote, of course. Gone inside forever, never seeing no one nice again. Now I'm getting messed up on the tune, but you know the song I'm talking about. All right, so anyway, the next pile is the Hawk, the Elk, and the Peacock. The third out of the 4 piles of 3s. All with flair here, right? They got all this stuff going on top. The crowning wings, or the antlers and plumes. The hawk clearing the way, the elk burning their way through, perhaps their hothead, or use the violet flame, or the swans who are 2 as 1 with well wishes, or diving deep, finding the poison in the garden, the bite that hurts the most. Released from lovers to be independent, in knowing and keeping peace of mind, the community child, a thief, where boy meets girl who sets him free, but hothead is expecting him to dive deep if he wants out from the spoiled little girl. And then the peacock comes into the garden, getting everything her way, blinded by the light of the thief. Or the loving couple clears the way for the elk and the peacock, the hothead and the snob or show-off, and the hothead wishes to break up with their little girl who's poisonous and spoiled and or a thief, or her parents are. Or the child of means but no affection, and the boy with nothing, the street kid, but poison and independence, have a path cleared for them in order to come together in a community. Or boy wants girl who is blind to his ways, allowing him into her secret garden, leaving her without physical affection, and becoming independent and in her knowing that he must leave behind what no longer serves him to be with her, or to deserve her, right, her worthiness. The Queen of Wands with self-love, or new love for chariot, the vehicle of ascension, or the divine feminine within the divine masculine, and the Knight of Cups then creating a third energy with the Queen of Wands, or Cancer between them, or little girl who's a hothead demanding their affection, or couple going to get released to or from a relationship in order to join a community. The 4th pile of 3s here was the unicorn, lizard, and lion, where the unicorn left, the lizard and lion right, or right-brained or left-brained, depending on your perspective. The fox, the mice, and the polar bear, where the unicorn is the fox, leaving the hen house or the country to deal with petty annoyances and pushy mother, perhaps. At 12:12, walking away and within, unhappy with little thieves, and a strong connection to mother, religion, or the powers that be, or Taurus and Leo, who maybe have this strong pact or relationship here, and then high honor, or 21 gun salute here, which is a saying goodbye, to say goodbye to the man thinking of the woman, but an official person, or a reputation to uphold, a commitment or a marriage. At 12:16, after I said the 21 gun salute, I literally was hearing the police practicing their shooting with the guns going off at 12:16. The man who's affected easily by his environment, losing energy, this could be a man or a woman, who is affected easily by their environment, losing energy by gypsies, tramps, and thieves, with the Leo lion and or Hierophant Taurus partners in official capacity, and then the unicorn going in a different direction, saying goodbye and making it official. The divine feminine or divine masculine saying goodbye to a pair who don't serve them, or self-serving couple, mother and child, business partners, or who just want to drain and control them, and that was at 12:21. So there's your message of the day. So now I'm going to go back to the unions. Okay, so the first 2 are actually physical union reads I did for myself, but there are definitely messages coming up for everyone in them. It's just a more focused view of the union as opposed to the general union, because then it brings up everybody's energies, which dilutes the union read a bit. So I wanted you to get the effect of that. So the first read was done at 6:32, and this was on the 4th, the day that everything went out, which is another reason why I wanted to bring them up, because they were in that energy. The underlying energy were the Lovers, and then the Four of Swords in the middle, the Queen of Swords at the end. And then right as I started this read, I was being guided. I was just listening to something, giving you new ideas on how to locate blocks and things like that. And so I asked some questions to myself, and I was getting a wounding regarding my grandfather, that he's actually in me or still hanging out with me. And this is a grandfather I lost when I was 8 years old. And 8's always been a very significant number for me. And it's also my destiny number. But when he died, I went there when I was 8 to visit him, which is where I learned about a girl with a hole in her heart who was in the waiting room with me and my dad. And I wasn't allowed to visit because I was too young. My brothers had gone without me with my dad earlier. But my dad wanted to sneak me in. And he was a physician, so I guess he was able to sneak me in for some reason or another. I don't know how. But I went in to see my grandfather, and he had all these tubes and, everything connected to him, which I had never seen before. I was only 8 years old. But his loving eyes, he was a very kind grandparent. I didn't get to see very often, but I had this bond with him. And so when waiting to go in, there was a little girl with a hole in her heart sitting across the way, and my dad was telling me about her. And I couldn't understand, how could she have a hole in her heart and still be alive, right? But that is part of something I've written, which hopefully will come out at some point. But this energy was coming up around my grandfather, who may have wanted to protect me. There was a lot of strain between his wife, my grandmother, and my mother. My grandmother didn't like my mother at all, right? The energy of the mother who never thinks anyone's good enough for her son. And there's this energy of realizing, if Grandpa's still in me, why is he there? And so I was having a little chat with my grandfather there. So I don't know if this is bringing up something from you. So hopefully it will. Maybe you need, even though I scanned my body, I was never getting my grandfather. And so this is someone who was hiding very well. So I'm still working on that, and I'll let you know what comes up from that. But then at 7 o'clock, which is a lot of source energy behind that 7 of the chariot, that vehicle of ascension, the incoming divine feminine, burdened by the stairs, or the wounding, the flame alone in the dark, or the dungeon, the basements, and basements always freaked me out. I hated going down the basement when I was young. The prisons, the under-ocean bases, and the projecting up and out of the aqua waters, exuding love in the divine masculine's heart in the crystal bat cave. There's a great affection here for Atlas with flame in hand, where the divine masculine has been putting his heart into. Then the 4D of the moon or Luna, the ascension in the 9 of Wands, the divine feminine romance at the new moon, with the divine masculine wounded warrior taking down the 9th flame, like off the menorah, right, that 9th flame, the 3rd baton in the 4th quarter, 4-4 tiebreaker here, and taking the flame off the table so it doesn't have to choose sides. Bridging ascension and coming full circle, holding Mother Gaia in the right hand, with I dream of genie, what is a word that is genie, that references the journey, and the DNA is the gene, Gene, is literally genie. So I dream of genie was coming up as the gene, a sense connection, or your DNA, to be earthling, right, to be a human being, or Gaian, and Gaian was coming up, or Guy-like. The cycle complete, sliding into home base, with love between Atlas and the bat cave, the rainbow smoke, the ironwork, as iron core becomes the diamond in the rough, the tip of the iceberg. The lovers seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and the love exuding out in aqua mother emotion. The 5D here was the King of Wands, Four of Swords, and the Page of Swords. The Divine Feminine, King of Wands, Shaman, and that 70s show. And there's that 7 again of the Chariot. The Sun on the horizon, and the right back is the writing on the wall, right? That's the masculine side. The Divine Masculine Page of Swords found a way out of Siberia, bridging after desert and cold mountain to beach to clear in salt water and or meditate. The 6D here is the Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands, and the Four of Cups. The Divine Feminine manifesting falls and luxury, while the Divine Masculine is an island to themselves in rough waters, looking up at the star. Long Island to Plum, only a hop, skip, and a jump away, grounding and integrating the receiving of love. What's fair is fair. Bridging the Queen of Wands, multitasker, reflecting his thoughts. The outgoing Divine Masculine of the Queen of Pentacles, Five of Swords, and the Wheel, clearing credit, and Hawaii 5-0 is coming up here, growing from frog to prince in the midst of Avalon, between a rock and a hard place, juggling hearts, destined to Atom and Eve, as Eve holds the truth trigger, which is Excalibur, which is the caliber of the X at 725, the Chariot, and the Knight of Wands. The Divine Feminine here with the new moon where the sunny man runs hot and cool chick. The Divine Masculine with the wounded warrior surrendering message to her, the star that was his guiding light, and the bridge of ascension with earth in hand, the shadow manifesting thoughts of the Queen of Wands, or all in one woman, right? I can cook it up and fry it up in a pan and never let you forget you're a man. That type of energy is coming up here. The high vibe expanding and contracting, acing the tango of holding on for office or wise stalls. It's saying like the reason for holding on to office are why they've been stalling. Clear of credit, 5 and O, the Great Wheel, and slots. Free of gambling debts as well here. The overall number was 37 of the King of Cups and unconditional love. And we had I'm just going to tell you the messages real quick. The Emperor times 2, or 2 men in control, or being present with the King of Cups, which is unconditional love, or a gift for the King of Cups. Destined higher love, sourcing the Emperor or their death in a change to the Hierophant with space or buffers on either side to unconditional love. And then the numbers here were coming up of the 33. Cryan always talks about the percentage of our DNA that needs to be awakened, right? That the 33 of the human is not enough, that we need to get at least to the 44% and up to the Pleiadian percentage, which is 80%, which is very interesting because my business is 3344 and my destiny number is 80. So that's kind of cool. So again, going from the 3D world onto the 4D bridge, so that we're at least at 44%, going to 80 of the Pleiadians. And there were 4 queens in this read. The Divine Feminine had Gemini and Cancer on their side, and my grandfather that I told you about was a Gemini. He actually had the same birthday as my mother, which definitely had Cancer. She was also a Gemini, obviously, and she had Cancer in her chart as well, for sure. And then the King of Wands and the Queen of Cups came up there. The Divine Masculine had Libra on their side with the Page of Swords, Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Swords. Between the Masculine and Feminine was Pisces and Queen of Wands, which can be, that a very motivated female energy, very physical, very creative, wanting to do everything at once kind of energy. And for me, that reminds me of my daughter because she is a Pisces and she's also got Aries in her chart, which is that Queen of Wands energy that comes up. I think that's her rising sign. So the second union read I did was at 10:01. So there's reflecting upon itself, the Wheel of Fortune and the Magician. And this was with the 8 of Pentacles in the underlying energy, the 4 of Swords in the middle. And you notice the 4 of Swords in the middle was in both of them, which is, for me, the connection in 5D. And then the 10 of Swords. The man working And you notice working is like war king, the man working or in war as a king, with crystals, sitting in shadow thoughts on the beach perhaps, and in back pain, or a painful end or betrayal, or massage and bliss. The incoming divine feminine with the Ten of Cups, Knight of Cups, and guidance. The work emotionally fulfilling, and the Knight of Cups offering guidance. And then Lee was coming up here, which was the killer in the movie I'd watched the night before. The killer's nickname, it wasn't their real name, but it's the name they went by. So that was like a disguise, right? The relationship reinvented guidance about marriage and lovers. The 4D here is the lovers, Nine of Pentacles and the Three of Wands. The divine feminine lovers, the divine masculine present to flame with an open heart, and bridging with the Nine of Pentacles sovereign or sovereignty with crystals here, which is also crystals or purging. The outgoing divine masculine is the Six of Cups, higher self, and the Nine of Wands. The children hugging within their higher selves, with the wounded warrior surrendering to bliss. The 5D of the Seven of Wands, Four of Swords, and the Sun of the divine feminine phoenix rising with flame in hand, and the divine masculine Pegasus leaping at a single bound, bridging in the 5D bliss, perhaps on the beach. The 6D of the Knight of Swords, Four of Wands of the union and strength, is the divine feminine messenger of truth with 5D message manifesting or manifested in the 6D, and the divine masculine birthing through the ring of fire, bridging in union or home at 1046, which is that high vibration of the 46 of the children coming together, which is the inner children or outer children. And then we have space, the space between. At 1047 is the Wheel of Fortune and the 47 of the Seven of Cups, synchronicities as well. And the movies I'd watched that night were Premonition, which is funny, that came up on 10-4, and The Holiday, which of course I had seen before. But Premonition about the holiday. And it was interesting because the marker on the road in Premonition where the car accident happens was 220, which is the 22 of the Fool's Journey with Source backing it up. The divine feminine here with lovers standing up to the drama and rising above to send message to self. The divine masculine present to flame, blinded by the sun. Pegasus leaping through the fire, coming out the other side. The white bengal tiger with a mighty roar. Pleading not to leave, but refuse to listen because they know better. It's like being told that you're wrong, like pleading to leave, but being refused that. Someone refusing to listen to that plea to not leave because, of course, they know better. The person who's being arrogant, refusing to listen because they think they know better, which may or may not be true. The bridge of the sovereign taking a break, rest, or deep thought about union or at home. And then the divine feminine with Taurus and Gemini on their side, the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Swords, two knights. And the divine masculine with Leo, Sag, and Pisces on their side, along with kids and the wounded warrior. And between the twins here is the sovereign home or the yard, where he's at the beach manifesting a castle for both of them. The overall number for this one was 70, which is the Two of Pentacles, which is the juggling or the performing or the keeping your eye on the prize to keep your energy at a high vibration. The journey to justice and love, juggling and surrendering to all the world's a stage. And the romance of the source chariot to the stars, the Empress lovers, and space for the sun to perform or shine, right? Leaving space for the masculine to shine. So there's alignment of overall happiness of being love and guidance here at 11 on the dot there. A lot of source energy. And then the 11 of justice, which I actually summarized on yesterday on the 5th. The alignment of overall happiness, being love and guidance, exuding affection and appreciating all that is and all that you have, the crystals, the flowers, and the pure wise bird or birds, that life springs eternal, being present to all that is, the gift that you are, the fond memories of love and connection, the innocence of childhood and higher self with the wounded warrior in surrender to bliss. That when he came in as the wounded warrior, recognizing his higher self was always watching out for him, and vice versa. In the 5D, both off-grid, leaping for joy and bridging in the 5D connection or stream. He gives her loving guidance, and she gives him loving affection to align with bliss, manifesting the messenger of truth toward the divine masculine and union, and the divine masculine breaking through the sun and the ring of fire to his own bliss, while she fends off the crowds, right, giving them space. So here's the general union read. And this was done yesterday at 4:54, which is the Emperor and the message of the Page of Swords. The new moon, which is today, the Two of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Cups. Knowing and floating, the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Cups. She pissing away time, money, and effort, and he with unconditional love, or perhaps conditions. The incoming Divine Feminine with the Two of Wands, Hanging Man, and the Seven of Cups. Feeling comfortably numb, the twin flames hanging out and taking steps 2 by 7, the Stairway to Heaven, which is the 2 of the High Priestess, the 7 of the Chariot, the Stairway to Heaven of Led Zeppelin, and comfortably numb, Pink Floyd, using pink light for lead to Z. And by the way, lead will come up in a message I needed to know, so here's the lead coming up. Using pink light for lead through Z, floating by the ocean, remoting over the earth, seeing new perspectives on spiraling energies and electromagnetics, or EMF. Cryogenics also coming up here, as well as euphorogenic, giving rise to a feeling of well-being. So everything that's going into euphorogenics is cryogenics, which is really, really cold. Electromagnetics of the lead to Z, the ocean, floating by the ocean, and then remote viewing, and seeing new perspectives on spiraling energies. All of this is going into that feeling of well-being, of euphorogenic. The 4D of the Page of Pentacles, reflection and karma, of the Divine Feminine being curious about their abilities. The Divine Masculine karma of judgment and opening the crown. And bridging with the Hermit and reflection, lighting up the process. The 5D here is the Five of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, and Abundance, which is the Empress. The Divine Feminine in a growth spurt, growing and stretching and juggling, while the Divine Masculine with abundance, or Mother. The Divine Feminine on land, the Divine Masculine in the sea, or plasma ethers, bridging with the Queen of Pentacles, holding the money, or at war with Mother. The 6D is the King of Pentacles, the Page of Cups, and the 8 of Cups. The Divine Feminine, King of Wands, Shaman, manifest, the Divine Masculine walking away, bridging with the Page of Cups, innocent love, with their heart open wide to the Divine Masculine, as opposed to turning their back on the Empress and Karmic, or Mother and Child. And this is coming up as a mother-child team that maybe the Masculine's dealing with, reflecting, or Virgo or Taurus, Mother and Virgo Child, or the Queen of Pentacles with Taurus, Virgo, and or Aquarius in their chart. The outgoing Divine Masculine here is the Knight of Swords, Four of Wands, and the Ace of Swords. The 5D message to home, union, or castle. The King of Cups laying in wait, ready to play ball, perhaps with conditions. The Divine Feminine of the Page of Pentacles growing into the King of Wands, Shaman. And the Divine Masculine, Karmic Abundance, in walking away from Mother, or Mother and Child. Bridging with the Hermit, with the Queen of Pentacles and the Page of Cups, or the Queen of Cups with Hermit and Page of Cups, or a man with 2 females, the Knight in shining armor with castle and moat and unconditional love, the Divine Feminine twin flame floating on air about hanging out and climbing spiral stairs. 2 off, or officially hanging out on the Stairway to Heaven, adapting to union truth, or good at bridging the truth and unconditional love, with the overall number being the number 29 of being present to the moment, or the gifts. And we also had the horizontal pillars of 10, 5, and 14, which is the Wheel, the Hierophant, and the Temperance card. And the other direction of the vertical pillars was the 4 of the Emperor, 0 is always Source, the 7 of the Chariot, 5 of the Hierophant, 0, 8 of the Strength card, 0, 4 of the Emperor again, and the 1 of the Magician. And the messages came out as Destined, Hierophant, and Angel, which also can be Taurus and Sagittarius, or that commitment to be patient and coming together at the present, or for a gift. The Emperor traveling with the Hierophant, manifesting new love with lots of space. And now we go into the read in front of you, which is the twin flame read done at 6 p.m., which is a lot of source energy behind the 6 of the Lovers for this new moon. At 6:10, which is my mother's birthday and grandpa's birthday, which I was just telling you about, 6:10, why stalls was coming up. And again, that came up in my read as to why they've been stalling. And as I wrote why stalls, I was literally, something was on and I literally said why stalls. So that's been coming up a lot for me lately. As soon as I write something or hear something, I see it reflected in something else. So I finished clarifying at 6:23, which is the Lovers and the King of Wands. We have the Chariot, the Tower, and Strength in the read. And before the read was the Wheel of Fortune and the Hanging Man. And after the read, the Star. With 3 swords, 2 wands, 2 cups, and 1 pentacle. So mostly swords here, or in your head, or intellectualizing. The King of Swords, the 9 of Swords, and after the read, the Knight of Swords. So all swords is the focus here. With double 1s, 2s, 4s, and 8s, the 8s being most significant here of the side-by-side dancing of the masculine and feminine, dancing with their own masculine and feminine in order to become the infinity on its side, and then having the 1-8 between them. The 8, 9, 10 begin again. The 45 of the 5 of Cups, the grieving process. The double 1s is justice. The double 2s is the journey, the Fool's journey. The 44 of the mastering, grounding, integrating. And then we also had the 1, 2, 3 jump, the 4, 5, 6. And instead of 7, 8, 9, it was just the 8, 9, 10, begin again. We also have 12 of the Hanging Man, 24 of the Queen of Wands, 48 of the 8 of Cups, walking away and within. And the King of Wands and the 8 of Wands, that energetic exchange or arrows of love between as well. And 68 of the Page of Pentacles. The code line was all about pride and relationship change. And the code line was number 9, coming from 5 and 4, which is 54, the Page of Swords, and the Hermit. And the messages were coming up as such. Source Sophia, which is the divine feminine, the mother, that 11 that was coming up through Cryon. The Source Sophia to the nth degree, expanding and contracting, or half of that, and half was coming up again today. Half and half, right? You're one of 2. 1/2 is 1 out of 2. You're not a half, you're 1 of 2. Expanding ice mass. And there's that cryogenics coming up. Expanding the ice mass is key. And there's something about cryogenics that's very important here in our journey. The 4 of Wands, sweet to the nth degree. The sourcing also Saturday through Friday. Or perhaps that's instead of any other cycle of the week. Saturday through Friday is coming up as significant, as opposed to Sunday through Saturday, perhaps. Expanding icemas. So instead of Christmas, icemas. Ice of cryogenics, but also the ice is of the cold, which references the feminine as opposed to the masculine. It references the Sophia of the home and the union. The star to be to the nth degree. The source, or 'tis Thursday, Friday, and at the mid-moon, which will be next week, Thursday and Friday is the mid-moon. And the mass expansion of greased lightning. This could be a literal mass of ice as well, like some kind of hailstorm that comes in all of a sudden. And then the union star to the nth degree, perhaps a union of stars as the twin unions come together. Wouldn't that be so cool? Of twin stars actually coming together into a binary situation that didn't exist before. That's interesting. And then a flock of geese came by right there at 6:40, which is the Lovers and the Page of Cups, that unconditional sweet love. So that was it was a flock of geese. It wasn't just one. Flying south, perhaps, since we're going into the winter. And there's that confirming the winter, that it's coming early. which I think they said that anyway, because of the light being redirected to Mars from the Pleiadians, in the wars, trying to increase the love light on Mars, that taking away of our energy is causing a longer or harsher winter, which was something they said. I think that was from Sam. Was that from Sam? I think it was from Sam the Illusionist. That message. Then we have the P is coming up here with relation to a ride and connection ship. And now that could be a cruise ship, and I watched half of Titanic. Oh, that's so funny, because half and half came up, and I never watched halfway through, and I only watched half of Titanic because I was falling asleep. So again, half and half is coming up, one of two, and Titanic in that relationship, right, of the one of two. And then THF came up, which is tetrahydrofuran, which always comes up as funny to me, because tetrahydrofuran is a heterocyclic ether with five rings, and where four are carbon and one is oxygen, like one is separate from the other four, and it actually acts as a polar solvent, and we're just talking about freezing temperatures, and here's a polar solvent of tetrahydrofuran. But also hydro comes up in one of the messages I got as we go further into this message, so remember that. And then the word lat was coming up as well, LAT, which is a staff or a monumental pillar, but it's also the latrine or a coin, or latitude, fear, afraid. It also means a dude, and it references the penis as well. It means yardstick milk, half an ounce. So here's the half again coming up. And being lazy, or having a habit, or being accustomed to something. That's the lat coming up. One of two. So then it was coming up as tis hetero ether with 5-membered ring, which can be a group, with 4 carbons and 1 oxygen, right? That is the air that they breathe, right? The one supporting the other 4, is a polar solvent here. Not balanced, expecting ice mass, 4 of drama, home with the home star union to be to the nth degree. So it's like the 4 of the group creating drama for the star regarding the union to be to the nth degree. That is, it's inevitable. You can't fight it anymore. And then pride, relationship change come up here, and source Sophia to the nth degree, expanding the ice exponentially. All right, so after I'd done my twin flame read, I watched Elizabeth April, and she was talking about Hadron Collider, which I didn't know anything about. I guess I've seen the big tunneler machine, which is very much like the Hadron Collider that they tunnel the deep tunnels with. It looks like that. But there was a reason why I watched her video around the Hadron Colliders, and I just told you hydro came up in tetrafuran, plus THF is very similar to the 3 initials that comes up around the Hadron Collider itself, which they caused shifts in 2012, which was what happened on the 4th, which is what Elizabeth April was talking about, shifting timelines so that we don't ascend. But there's nothing to be afraid of, so don't worry about that. It's all part of the plan. And that I wrote down at 8:18 last night, which was after I had finished with this twin flame read. So again, this Sophia energy is coming up as the icy energy, right? The dark to the light. And the THF of tetrahydrofuran they were linking me to the LHC, which is literally the code for the Large Hadron Collider. And that was at 8:22 when I wrote this down. So the Hadron Colliders were the elites using that machine to shift timelines. And my guys were trying to get me to this, because remember the message about going down the south side of the Alps in Switzerland? Well, this is where the Hadron is. It's it's between like Switzerland and France on the south side, which is south. The Switzerland is more north. So the south side of the Swiss Alps would be going into France, right? Because the Alps all meet between France, Italy, and Switzerland. And that's exactly where the Hadron Collider is. So it was like my guides trying to guide me to that. Not only that, but the other day, yesterday, the day before, no, the other day when I did your read, one of the code line messages was Alice with the H in front of it, right? Halices. And so guess what one of the other machines is called of the Hadron Colliders? It's called Alice. And the H is for the Hadron. So how crazy is that? It's like your guides are always trying to get you towards this, and also helps you confirm what you're hearing. So, and by the way, Elizabeth April was accentuating the need for group meditations this month to increase the love light energies, where the dark energy from Sam the Illusionist said there's dark energies being infused from a comet. And then she was just saying the dark energies from the collider and them trying to shift timelines. So all we have to do is send out more love life as groups, making it very powerful, sending it to all the portals around the world. So you might want to check out her video as well. So again, the Hadron Collider, LHC, which was relating to the THF, because it was that 3-letter with the H in the middle of tetrahydrofuran, plus the hydro that came up in Hadron. And the H Alices of the Hadron and the Alice, which is one of the detectors that they use with the Hadrons. So built by the European Organization for Nuclear Research, and that's CERN, CERN, from 1998 to 2008. In the tunnel is 17 miles and 574 feet deep, below France to Switzerland border near Geneva. In 2018, it was shut down for 2 years for upgrades, and the collider has 4 crossing points where accelerating particles collide. So they do experiments there. So there's 7 detectors detecting the different phenomena here, positioned around the crossing points, those 4 crossing points. The collider is primarily proton beams. And remember, and the other day, the atom broken down came up for me. I literally is giving you a word combining pro, nu, and electrons. So here's the proton beams again, but also can accelerate beams of heavy ions, lead to lead. Remember, I told you, lead came up in the read today. The lead to lead collisions and proton to lead collisions, which both of those things came up in my reads this week, typically performed for 1 month per year. And they use it to test theories. Higgs-boson came up, and supersymmetric theories, etc. regarding physics. So hadron is a subatomic composite particles composed of quarks held together by strong force, as atoms and molecules are held together by electromagnetic force, the EMF. Best known hadrons is baryons, which is protons and neutrons, and mesons, which are pion and kaons, which were discovered during cosmic ray experiments late in the 40s and 50s of 1900s. So the different names of the Hadron Colliders were relativistic heavy ion collider, and then that was BNL from 2000 to present. The Large Hadron Collider, which is the one we're talking about, was CERN, that group, from 2009 to present. And then there's a future circular collider that's proposed, which I'm assuming will be smaller. And the defectors' names here were, get this, the Atlas experiment, which, I talk about Atlas all the time. And one of them's called Alice, which comes up in my header all the time. And then the other one was Compact, Muon, Solaroid, CMS, I think I wrote. And then the other one is LHC and then lowercase b, which is more specialized. Alice and that one are more specialized. And then the last 4 are smaller and very specialized, which are Totem, Moedal, M lowercase o, and then capitals EDAL, and then IH or LHCF, and Phaser, FASER. So, and again, this was regarding all the energies regarding the shutdown on the 4th. and that is exposing, declassified documents or classified documents being declassified. Again, with Facebook, Instagram, and whoever shut down. And there was email aspects that were shut down too, because none of the pictures I sent that day went through. So Chariot is up right here, starting out the reed, and below that is the Wheel, the Six of Cups, as we're at the 11th hour going into the 1 hour mark here. So the Wheel of Fortune is upright, Six of Cups reversed, Three of Pentacles upright, the Hanging Man is upright, the Four of Cups reversed, and then the Chariot's on top here is the underlying energy card. The destiny of falling out at work or negative past to hang out and see new perspectives and start over in a bold move to surrender to the Two of Cups upright despite issues of the connection. And this was at 9:09 and 9:11. And 9:09 is a portal, and then 9:11 of 9/11 is also a portal, right? At the Statue of Liberty, I got a long time ago, many years ago, when I first started out this journey of the angels of the feminine, and it's 1:44 on the clock, the angels of the feminines at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty meeting the Palladian ship coming into the Statue of Liberty, where there's an etheric altar from Atlantis there. So the Lovers reversed, or lack of affection, and being freed from sharing or settling out and receiving negative energies from them. The workplace of the Empress reversed with new information, where the worst is now over, and the bliss in freedom from injustice, or the Fool and their loyal friend, with Libra in chart perhaps, and Aries upright. So here's the axis of Libra and Aries, and we're in Libra right now. Or driving over entrance protectors and puncturing tires, or that Libra-Aries axis here, and the world being out today, watching what's going on, with the devil waving hello, allowing them to see the dark, trying to weaken the light in a sudden event, or like a blackout, trying to put people into fear and make them glued to the glass ceiling. So again, don't, the only issue here is the fear. So don't be afraid of anything, whether it's not about choosing one side or the other. It's always about the fear that it causes you, because that's where they lower your vibration, then they can manipulate you. So don't worry about what's right, what's wrong. It's about feeling good and happy and keeping your vibration high. Don't worry about the other details, okay? The 9:22 here is the Hermit, and the 22 of the Fool and the Fool's Journey, the Ball and Chain. But here the dark is weakened by the sudden event. It's like cutting off your nose to spite your face, which was also a message that was coming up all week with the crocodile. So this is the dark actually doing it to themselves, because they're always about ego. They're not thinking about other people, or the ego getting the best of them. The Capricorn or temptation waving, with Leo reversed, which is ego, either ego out of control or ego death, and Scorpio upright, which is the stinger of Scorpio, right? Because they can sting really hard, right? Which is a trigger, it's a reaction to something. The ego and the stinger here. Or Capricorn exploding when the divine feminine delays getting back. We have chemistry here and codependency beneath it, with bad memories of childhood or of a falling out, and the 10 of Cups upright sham fam, without options to eat out perhaps, or grieving a loss, regret, or shame of sharing codependencies or addictions, or depression equally. A three-legged race that can only go forward if they work together. When the postman comes, you need to be ready, perhaps with your answer. We have parenting with 63, which is suffering in silence or stressed out from parenting, and music, which is coming up very significantly this week with 32 on the journey. How important music is. And that's the music of the spheres as well. We have strong like wind, letting go of lover and over-isolating or coming out, tempted by the Holy Grail, with the past returning, with the Hierophant and or Taurus. With the 3 of Cups upright and 3 Cups reversed, the 3 of Cups with mouse and the 3 of Cups reversed without a cat, and it comes out as a wash with the Hierophant, but the squirrel is getting to the drink first. So it's like while we're doing cat and mouse games over here, which is the messages that's coming up now, while they're keeping you occupied with these cat and mouse games, the squirrel is getting away with getting to the drink first. And the trees not watered, the grass overgrown, which is being pointed out by someone here. Leo upright, Gemini upright, Virgo reversed, and Taurus upright here. And again, that references to the what's it called? I can't think of the name right now, but that's okay. Oh, the distance formula. The flying the distance formula is referring to this cat and mouse game, right? If someone can go along the hypotenuse, they're going to get there first before the person going on the other two lines of the triangle. And this is like someone causing delays for the opponent, basically, in a cat and mouse game, where then neither of them win and the squirrel gets there first. But also pointing out that the trees have not been watered and the grass is overgrown, so nothing's been taken care of. So the Hierophant and the Chariot and the injustice of the sudden event, epiphany, or sexual exchange, or sharing parenting issues, with Pisces, Capricorn, and Scorpio all upright here, the underlying energies is about moving into peace to come clean or clean up the act or space. And then the war with the X, going forward, independent, dropping facade, and shamed, under the radar feeling a failure, holding their tongue with the Page of Swords or Knight of Swords reversed, and the Page of Swords, or the two of them are kids, coming out of going crazy and manifesting big time in a heated exchange or delay, not telling about the third party sadness or perhaps what they did, or sending evil energy to a group to make them sad. And this could be somebody's kids, who are mad. A pouty kid can do lots of things with negative energy, not realizing it's actually a spell work. The Ten of Cups family of the Divine Feminine or Pisces King of Cups reversed, and the Empress and the Emperor reversed, reaping rewards of saving and hanging out, with the King of Swords reversed, not willing to pay. It's like they're willing to hang out with them, but they're not willing to offer any time, money, and energy to them if they're going to be negative. The recent past is the Eight of Wands reversed, not expressing or blocking energy, no trust with new information, and off a bit, perhaps, at nighttime, withholding new life while moving or visiting, or instability from the past and dealing with them. The Page of Swords spreading the word about depression or arrogance. The Queen of Wands and Knight of Cups both reversed, out of options, not sleeping or rising and coming out in a bold move, and the Foundation being the Ace of Swords reversed, a split, divide, a lie, or dealing with BS. Frustrated and uncomfortable with the King of Swords reversed, the Queen of Cups is upright, focusing on love and in need of peace. The central energy of the King of Swords reversed, at war, defending the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, or money, or legacy, to depressed or arrogant messages of the Queen of Wands reversed and the Knight of Cups reversed, or jealous person with temper. The Ten of Pentacles is guarded and not sleeping, unable to function, with the Queen of Pentacles upright, challenged by the Four of Wands reversed, or homelessness, or instability, or visit, or homecoming perhaps, at 10:07, the Wheel of Fortune and the Chariot, or high vibrational Chariot, and then going to 10:08, which is that high vibration, and then the dance with source energy. The depression about putting it out there, the money that they don't have, or letting go to fix things up, or letting go of their Scroogey ways, taking a risk to run or steal from the player, or warned, being paralyzed, or worried, or warned, being paralyzed by passions. The Queen of Pentacles without attention, being a patient angel, boldly ascending on their own while all this is going on, pushed out of bed, powerless and no longer obsessing, and uncomfortable facing emotions, with the King of Cups reversed, or with conditions of love, the Knight of Wands reversed, that is falling short and out in the cold, with the Queen of Pentacles connecting and is draining. It's no surprise, being the patient angel in the pursuit of happiness in a tower event of big explosion, eruption, sudden event, or computers going out, epiphany or sex, suffering in silence at work, or stressed out about the injustice of it, or of the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, and control of things. And the King of Cups, Cancer, may be moving or visiting, or Cancer asking Taurus or Hierophant, what the heck is taking so long? The Three of Cups reversed, and the third party message of love, reaping rewards of sleazy sex in the chair, with the Magician, destined, or Libra, excited to be out of control, with Magician holding their tongue, with the King of Wands upright, which releases them from injustice of the Emperor reversed, who abuses their power or is stepping down, reaping rewards of having dropped the ball, with the Empress reversed, where the worst is now over of a breakup or lack of affection, with the Queen of Cups upright, drained and feeling crazy and over-isolating in order to come out injured, with no surprise, being patient around crowds. Because that can be very draining for her. Soon the energy is the Strength card reversed, feeling weak, in need of courage to break the sound barrier and communicate. On a quest to heal and forgive after the Page of Pentacles reversed is drained by the Knight of Wands, player, cheater, or runner. The King of Cups reversed is defenseless at work, hanging out, or with Capricorn. The Knight of Pentacles reversed, stubborn or unable to function. Healing from split, divide, or lie, or BS of the King of Cups reversed, with Leo in their chart. Twin flames seen as the Nine of Swords upright, stressed out, suffering in silence, purging or not sleeping, and wanting to start over in love. Through the grief process, purging the King of Pentacles reversed. Powerless or dependent, the Queen of Wands reversed, Taurus, or Hierophant without options. With a reconciliation and let your friends help. Give your relationship a chance. This is all for the twins. And around the twins is the Five of Cups upright, unable to look up at the Two Cups. The dark night, the death, the dumping of a load, burdens, or responsibilities, and needing to swallow their pride about the bliss, now that the worst is over, but still not happy with self. The block being the Ten of Cups, happy family, and dumping emotional attachments. The pride, the relationship change, but even more so, compassion and love. Jealous rage and getting over it and healing, working to align with sudden events. The Knight of Cups reversed, jealousies or receiving offer of a big love. The Queen of Cups upright without their sunshine or surprises, being patient and an angel, or Sagittarius conflicted in the pursuit of happiness, healing and forgiveness. Clarity about letting go in a split, with the Queen of Swords reversed and High Priestess reversed, lying, and the Hermit reversed, hurt and left behind at 1031, which is destiny and expansion and the pursuit of happiness. Withholding a new life because of, perhaps, or because someone else has depression or arrogance, lashing out or holding their tongue, not surrendering to it all, as opposed to allowing that. The Libra reversed, or in a twist of fate, in falling out with kids or soulmate, at work hanging out, wanting to start over in a bold move, and split, needing clarity, but stressed and depressed and not telling their true feelings, the King of Swords reversed. Challenged by, and that can be negative, he's being negative. The challenge being an unstable home or move, feeling weak with the Ten of Cups upright, which can be the sham fam with sudden events going on, an epiphany or sexual exchange here, while working to gain clarity, holding back depression and harsh words, and dropping the ball at 1036, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Atlas energy of the weight of the world. Boldly moving, but not telling the Hierophant. In a split, the King of Swords reversed may be ghosting, or in a sudden event, having an epiphany and challenged by a place to live. Suffering in silence and weak, sad family, happy without them, always at work, no peace of mind, and not ready for a new life due to depression and verbal abuse, or silent treatment, and dropping the facade to break their patterns at 1039, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Knight of Cups. So just a quick couple cards here to wrap it all up from the animal spirits. All right, so what is our takeaway from these messages today? Dear one, we're keeping to ourselves right now. We're clamming up. We have DE of Delaware here too. And the oysters, the oyster, the stirring up of the oys, And the dear one, an energetic exchange. Dear ones, keeping to self, clamming up, is the frog with love raining on me, right? Trying to become the prince. But there are vultures around, and they're struggling with this. Okay. It's also like the frog is looking towards the vulture for cleanup duty. This also could be an eagle who just got really old and crotchety, right? So, and feeling like feeling like this. Like the dear one is feeling like this, clammed up, or trying to protect themselves in their shell. And here's the frog, scared to become that prince, feeling like an old crotchety bird or old wise man, but who doesn't have their looks anymore. That's what the frog is saying, right? It's the prince is the eagle, but the frog is the vulture. And like, why would she want me? I look like this. And that's the energy that's coming up as the feminine's keeping to themselves. But then we have the hummingbird whispering in their ear. See? Trying to clear that up for them. And then friends coming through for you. Look, he becomes the eagle again as the friends come through to support him to become Batman. And there he is. That's so cute. Then we have the bottom of the deck, which is the starfish. So it can just represent the stars, but also in this deck, the definition of this is very superficial. And there's the earthworm who's new, right? So they have a lack of confidence and they need to not be intimidated by others because they need to ask questions to learn. And these both have the stripes behind them. And we got the raccoon back here too, who's sad in the dark. They're not even looking through the trash anymore because people see them like they have a mask on, that they're saying they're not being their true selves. And it's making them sad because it is them. And then we have the earthworm who's feeling intimidated by the star, who's superficial. So don't be intimidated and don't be superficial. This one's got to go deeper, and this one has to speak up and be confident. And that's the energies between the two, right? One not being afraid to ask questions, and the other one, coming off their high horse, basically. Okay. So we're going to read the dear one, and we're going to, let's see. I just want to give you an energy card too. I'm not going to pull from Journey of Love today here. The energy deck. One last card. Metatron was just coming through. And this just came flying out. The man holding the heart. And there's that, wanting a happy family. So this is the grieving process for the Emperor here. Perhaps grieving the family. And time in the sun, right? Their day in the sun. The Emperor's famous, the star. This could be the Divine Masculine grieving the so-called illusion of the happy family and fame. In order to have Thanksgiving, the 2 of the High Priestess, or the 11 of Justice, Truth, and Balance, that nature is abundant every day. This can also be the masculine grieving and doing his purging in order to come into a happy family, to have time in the sun and relax, perhaps retiring, and enjoying abundance every day of happiness and sunshine and abundance. And victory here with the twin flame. So here's the feminine being at peace. And there's like removal of the crown, right? This is like Caesar's crown. So her finding peace in a natural crown that's been taken off, like so no longer being the emperor, just being themselves, right? Here's the loving man and the energy between the masculine and the feminine here. right? Her having found peace, and him going through some last purging here regarding wounds of the so-called happy family, wounds regarding fame, and wounds regarding not having enough, and knowing that you have abundance every day in your life. And not to feel schooled. This can be a wounding too, about being made to feel like a child, like being talked down to by a mother or a wife, that type of energy. And then here's the broken heart, mended. The bottom of this deck is the Angel of Love. There's the heart. 49 of the Get Your Wish card. And beneath that is all tied up of the King of Wands, right? So it's still the masculine energy tied up, perhaps by someone who's toying with him or playing games. And then the feminine energy. This also could be the energy of two children. You know, one who's very sweet and loving and the other one who's a pain in the ass. All right, so let's see here. We had the first card that came out was the Deer one, which is, okay, the Deer. So the Deer is loving, intuitive, graceful, and the mother. Deer one, that is you, the feminines. The Deer represents the feminine aspects of earth energy. This energy is available to all creatures regardless of gender, but is especially potent in new parents. During the first few days, they are fully present, nurturing, and calm. Their inner beauty radiates, and a sense of grace calms the room. A Deer personality affects others in this way, drawing them toward a quiet tenderness. The Deer card may appear when a birth or celebration of new life draws near, or when a situation calls for absolute gentleness and compassion. So this is what the feminine's being called to do, to be in your newbornness and be gentle and compassionate. When you're in balance, receptive, compassionate, and nurturing. And when you're out of balance, concerned and protective. To bring yourself back into balance, use nature and children, right? Because they always free your spirit again. So that's a very important message, all right? To be love. Don't worry about all the details of what's happened. Just be in the moment. Be compassionate and loving, because there are always two sides of a situation, and you never understand what the other person's been through. So again, hurt people hurt people. So if you can have compassion for those other people who have, perhaps you felt like they've done you wrong, and overlooking that, and it doesn't mean they have to be in your life, you can certainly have compassion and love for your twin, even if they've hurt you. So something to ponder on, to be that mothering spirit that you are, of love and compassion. And it's 1/22/22. And make sure you drink your water. Get your rest, get your joy, and get your nature. Make sure you get up and move your body to release stuck energies. And breathe. And rise and be love, you guys. Have an amazing day. I will see you soon. Take care, guys. Bye.